Today's show is all about a town that we work in quite often with both buyers and sellers. It's about a 15 to 35 minute drive or so from Salem, just south of Salem, depending on the side of town you're coming from and the side of town you're going to, might be a little further, but that is Albany, Oregon.
I love Albany.
Yeah.
There's a ring to it.
There's a ring to it.
There's even a river to it, and there's a train to it.
There is. There's a Albany train station.
Yeah.
That's true. No, it's a nice little town, and we see a lot of relocation buyers who are people who are initially thinking about moving to the Salem area, and then they decide to start looking in Albany. We've worked with a lot of clients where that's the case. A lot of clients have moved here that we've worked with for job purposes to work in Albany or the surrounding areas. So there's a lot of potential, a lot of opportunities, and it's just a place a lot of people want to live.
I love Albany because it always becomes the more affordable place.
It's a little affordable.
Now, depending on where you're at in Albany, like for instance, West Albany, it can get expensive, especially when you start getting into more hillside properties. Generally, you're going to run into more lots. So meaning not more lots, but like bigger lots is what I'm saying. The pieces of real estate, you'll have better yards. But West Albany in particular has more of the higher elevation. And you're right in between like Corvallis. So there's a bridge actually here in Salem. We have the West Salem Bridge. In Albany, there's that bridge that kind of gets you to that other side of town, and you'll be more of a hillside surrounded by wooded areas in those type of things.
Yes. Before we get into it though, if you are someone who's thinking about relocating to our area, we'd love to help you out. We get calls, texts, and emails from people like you who are watching our videos and are thinking about relocating or just buying or selling in our area, and we would love to work with you as well. The best place to reach us would be our website, and we will put that in the description below. Also, I feel like I need to add, because we do get asked as relocation specialists, we do get asked quite often questions like, is this a good side of town? Is this a bad side of town? Is this a good town to live in? And there are a lot of lines that as real estate professionals, we're not allowed to cross legally. So legally, we're not allowed to say things like, this is a bad side of town necessarily. We can't just straight up say that. However, we always want to be super straight up and honest with our clients, and not lead them astray or hide anything, but we definitely can't, there's a lot of different, I guess what I'm trying to say, there's a lot of different rules that we have to be really careful.
I can't steer you
in a direction. Yes, we can't steer you in a certain direction. But what we're going to be talking about today is not our opinion on Albany. This is statistics. So what we can't do is say, this is a bad side of town, don't live there. And of course, that's also circumstantial. Like what one person considers a bad side of town, another might not. So I would never say that anyway, because we might have different opinions on that. However, what I can say is, here is a website where you can see the actual crime ratings, school ratings in the area, and then make your best decision off of that. So with all that being said, these are statistics about the Albany area. So let's get into that. Okay, so the livability rating in Albany, Oregon.
This is like 1 to 10.
Currently, it's 70 out of 100.
Oh.
Yeah, so not 1 to 10.
Okay, so 1 to 10. It's a 7 out of a 10.
7, yes, okay.
Put it that way.
These are some things that they look at when it comes to livability scores. Cost of living, Albany got an A-, which is really good. Education, they got a C. Crime, they got a C+. So here's what from citystatistics.com. Here's some information. Albany is a great place to live. Albany ranks well in a combination of factors and diversity. Albany truly has something for everyone, and that's why it's a great place to call home. Ultimately, what makes a great place to live is subjective. Like I said, some people may prefer a smaller city with a tight-knit community, while others might prefer a larger city with more options and more things to do. The important thing is that a city provides what its residents need and want. If a city has everything a person is looking for, it can be a great place to live. So another situation we see a lot is people who are going to be moving to our area and they're going to be working in Corvallis. A lot of them choose to live in Albany because the prices, Albany is just a super quick drive to Corvallis. It's kind of in between Salem and Corvallis. And it's so much more affordable. Corvallis has gotten so crazy expensive.
Yeah,
and
it's pretty wild.
It definitely just has a different, the town just has a different feel as well. So that is one thing that we see a lot is if you're working in Corvallis, Albany might be a really great option to look into.
Yeah. And for instance, I mean, my brother, he's a police officer for the city of Corvallis, and he lives on an outskirt town about 10 minutes from Albany. He does all of his shopping in Albany. He very rarely comes to Salem. Yeah. He prefers to be in Albany. They still have a mall. They got Target. They got a Costco. They got a Chinese buffet. They got a lot of really good places you want to be, especially their downtown area. They have a riverfront. So there's really not a lack of activities or shopping in industries, food. The convenience is all there. I mean, the center markets are there. So
wasn't sorry to cut you off, wasn't the roller skating rink we went to in
there
Albany?
is, yeah. So the YMCA, they have a YMCA. It's more towards the outer skirts of Albany. I'd say it's southwest Albany, but it's a brand new YMCA facility basically, and they made a really cool industrial building into a roller skating rink, and a lot of people were there when we last went there, and it was really refreshing. We got the disco lights going, we got the DJ music, we could rollerblade or roller skate. I thought that was a pretty cool place to be, and especially see younger crowd there as well. But just as surprisingly, the older generations were there as well. So my parents included. But the sports programs, high schools, I mean, they got good programs all around, I would say. Whether you're West Albany or South Albany, I would say they're pretty comparative between the two. It just really depends on what side of town you want to be in and the affordability side as well. Because those are always factors that we got to look into as a home owner is what can you afford, what area, and type of house too. I mean, we could get all the way into the 1940s, 1930 builds.
Yeah,
and there's a historical side to Albany. It is an original town here in Oregon. Like I said, there's a railroad going through town. There's the railroad station. Yeah, and it's a nice place to be, and it's pleasant, I would say.
Yeah, they do have it's small, but they have a historic district like we have in Salem, where you do have historic homes, and there's of course those rules you have to follow if you purchase one. Certain things you're not able to change, but I think that's pretty cool. And I mean, I think their downtown is it's very small, but it's cute. It's a cute little downtown. So before we end, I will share the population.
Yeah, no, these are great.
Just over 56,000 people. So if you're curious about the size, that's, the size you're going to get.
Do we know do we know how many people are in Salem versus Albany?
Oh gosh,
Google that real quick.
It's 150,000. Let's see. In Salem.
Because Albany, you have both sides of I-5, and you got an expo center in Albany, you got hotels. There's a lot of good things happening.
The population in Salem is just over 177,000.
See, and what's crazy is I don't look at Albany versus Salem, especially when I'm in Albany and Salem both wow, we're 4 times bigger than Albany.
Yeah.
That's kind of wild to me.
But I think also with Salem, each side of town kind of feels like its own. Yeah. Kind of feels like its own town. But
yeah, you have your own districts, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Albany's a great place to be, though. It's clean and a lot going on.
All of our clients that have moved there, a lot of the people we work with, they never come to the area they're moving to in Oregon until after they close on their home, and it's too late to turn back. And we've never had anyone who wasn't happy with it. So if you're going to be moving here, obviously I would say it's important to do your research like you're doing now if you're watching this video to the best of your ability. But I think Albany is a really solid town, and it might be a good choice for you. We come on here every week, so be sure to subscribe if you haven't, and we'll see you next time.